Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to find a rogue DHCP server on your network on a Fortigate firewall. Right. I'm not sure how many of you manage customer networks like I do, but it happens all the time. Somebody brings a router from home, a vendor will go in there and plug a device in that will also be handing out DHCP on the user network. And all of a sudden, users will start getting an IP address that doesn't match anything that we have configured. Obviously, they run into network issues, and then we have to hunt down where that DHCP server is and either unplug it or block the port, and then reach out to whoever plugged it in. So I'm just going to go through the process that I usually do when I'm trying to hunt down a rogue server. So typically, the way that I kind of do it is I just use the command line. And if something's handing out DHCP, usually it's going to be on UDP ports 67 or 68. That's just the standard. So what I like to do is I'll run a sniffer um, on the network that I'm having the issue on. So my case, that is going to be VLAN 200. And then as the filter, I put UDP port and then 67. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug in a device and we're just going to see like what the normal DHCP process looks like if there isn't a rogue DHCP server on the network. Okay, so I went ahead and just plugged in a little switch. So we should see that switch reach out, and you can see it here. It sent its DHCP broadcast, and then my firewall, the Fortigate that I'm in right now, responded with, okay, here's your address, 192.168.1.219. So this is your typical handshake and how it should look like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to plug in my rogue server, and then I'm going to plug in another switch, and we're going to see what that conversation looks like. All right, so you can see now we have another device after the packet cache was running and we plugged that switch in. You can see that my router, after we went ahead and plugged that switch in, you can see that my router is actually handing out an address. And you can see this other device right here on a different network, the 192.168.0 network, is also trying to hand out DHCP. And so whenever you plug something in, it basically is kind of a crapshoot on which one is going to give it DHCP or not. So from this, I can tell, okay, this guy is my problem. So one of the easier ways we could do this is just by going to, if you have a FortiSwitch or if you have a switch or any kind of firewall that tells you where things are plugged in at, you could search for it, right? Okay, so this guy is telling me that it's picking this IP up on port 3 of my switch. And where's that sucker at? This guy right here. So the rogue DHCP server that I plugged in was my Unify Express, which is also a router firewall. So that thing is the one that's causing me problems. Now, if for some reason you can't, you don't have a nice thing, or it's not popping up in the search bar, what you can do is, what I'll do sometimes, because what this tells us is it doesn't give me the MAC address if I need to look it up in a switch or try to find it. I could try to ping it, but if the network is different, sometimes it won't work. Looks like in my case it is. So let's do a get system arp grep. I just wanted to add here that the reason I was able to ping the rogue DHCP server is because I actually had a secondary IP address on this interface with the same network, which is most likely not going to be the case in a real world environment. But that is an option. If you want to try to ping it to get more information about it, you can add a secondary interface within the interface that you're having issues with. with the same IP scheme, so it's a little bit easier to hunt down. So I just wanted to go ahead and add that because I didn't mention it in the recording, but that's why I was able to ping it, and that's another method of being able to try to get more information about the server. Okay. 88A7. So if I'm looking up for a MAC address in my switch, I can do diagnose switch controller, switch info, MAC table, rep, A8, A7. Okay. And it's telling me it's on port 3. So at this point, what I could do is I could shut down that port. I could go into my MDF. I could unplug that guy. One other option that you do have if you have a FortiSwitch attached to a Fortigate, and I guess if you have any other vendor as well, is we can enable DHCP snooping on that guy. So technically, if we want to just leave everything plugged in the way it is and put in a temporary fix, we would go ahead and go to the interface and then enable DHCP snooping. What that should do is our firewall should squash the DHCP requests on the switch from that device to where it's not going to hand out DHCP. I don't really like leaving that enabled just because it's a little, obviously I just don't want that thing on my network handing out addresses, because this could get turned off by another engineer or another tech. And then you're kind of, it starts happening over and over again, right? So this is just a quick way on how I, just to show you guys how I hunt down DHCP rogue servers on the network. Leave a comment down below if you have a better way or an easier way. Hope this was helpful to anybody that's looking to do the same, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.